Welcome to Shawn and Carter Have a Podcast. My name is Shawn.
And I'm Carter.
And I'm Alisha. I felt like I had
Boom.
to introduce myself. Bam.
You did.
I just took it from you.
I assigned you the Pez thing, and I can't believe that you're hanging on to it.
Well, that's my name.
It's not your name.
It is.
It's not
Hush
your
now.
name.
It has been for ages. Before I even knew you.
Your name was Perez.
Nuh-uh. You were wrong.
Yeah, huh?
I had a Zanga when I was super young. And
Carter,
it was
we're
Alisha
replacing
Pez.
this podcast with a domestic abuse spotlight.
Yes, we want to bicker.
Shawn and Alisha are going to talk about how to resolve,
Marital,
relationship problems,
yes.
Maritable? That's not a word.
We're gonna.
Maritable.
That's the name of the podcast.
Maritable
Yeah, issues.
Exactly.
Let's not, actually. What were you guys going to talk about?
We're just going to talk about,
We're
We're
going to talk about
Apple
Netflix.
stuff.
Netflix? Oh, gosh.
Minecraft.
They make bad decisions.
Oh, man. So, remember a couple podcasts ago, I was like, hey, we got to get a guest on here. We got a guest!
We got a guest. And you.
And me at the same time, although we had to record it on a wholly different day than we ever recorded to make it happen.
That must be the secret to success. I'll have to remember that for future guests. Do not record on Saturday.
Yeah, there's magic juju on Friday nights.
It's true. And/or none of us have plans outside of our houses on Friday nights, which I don't know if that's a good thing.
We're old.
Yeah.
Hey, speak for...
Yeah.
Hey, wait, I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
You're the oldest.
Damn
I'm
it.
the youngest. I'm a baby.
Oh, no way. I just turned 25.
I'm 24. Sean's 47.
Something like that.
I look
He looks
pretty
good.
good for it.
Yeah.
You do.
I
I guess that would make your dad boy. Anyway, we're already off the rails. How long have we been on?
It seems like an excellent time to start bringing up questions
Interesting
from viewers.
questions,
Like,
yeah.
do you guys plan what to say or just make everything up? What does the last 2 minutes say to you?
Well, yes, Winstian76. Winstian, if you are listening to this, I would be interested to know why you have 76 appended to your name. Were you born in 1976, or do you just like the number 76? Yeah, he wants to know if we plan, or if we
he's
just
a fan
like...
of the 76ers, obviously.
Could be. Really likes Charles Barkley.
Yeah, exactly. What? Well, I don't know. Alisha, do you have any insight on this? What is your
plan
impression?
what to say?
Yeah, like a little bit.
You just sat through one of our planning.
I did. It was kind of vague. I think they must read each other's minds, actually, because I have no clue what we're supposed to talk about, but they apparently know.
Well, that's unfair, Alisha.
What? I mean, I know vaguely what we're gonna do, but you guys are like, so we're gonna talk about, yep, okay. Like, they don't finish sentences. I'm just here. Mac, okay, never mind.
I forgot we used our telepathy to
Yes,
enact this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of invisibility or flight, Sean and I both chose telepathy as our secret
Only
powers.
to
That's right.
each other, which is weird.
But only to each other. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. We've been doing this for a long time. I think we've got a shorthand at this point.
We text and email throughout the week, like things back and forth that we want to talk about or might want to talk about. It's usually a lot of might want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, and what we ran through with Alisha. Actually, this was the shortest planning we've ever done because I think we just wanted to do it, jump in. But we usually have a little, I have a notes file that has everything we want to talk about. But the real
I have
answer
a notes
to the question,
file that Carter sends me.
Right, I email sometimes minutes before the show. I email this.
That's all I need.
It's just we're gonna talk about these things, but inevitably we end up talking about random things. So the answer is we do have topics to organize what we're talking about, but no, it's all random. It's totally random.
We allow it to go off the rails until one of us says this is going off the rails, and then we bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's uniquely ours?
No.
Going off the rails?
No, it's not. I mean,
I think we.
I hate to always bring up Kevin Smith, but Kevin Smith spends his entire podcast stoned. So if you can imagine what that is like, he's off the rails most of the time.
But does he use the phrase? Is what I'm saying.
He's probably used it a couple times.
He podcasts 4 hours a day every day, though, right?
I think even more than that.
God.
He's making his living that way.
That's crazy, Tam.
Yeah, it is.
I could not do that.
Well, that's why you have like, a real job and stuff.
Yeah, I know. Real jobs.
Next
well,
question,
speaking of podcasting, because we have something to say about this. BananaCraft12, which incidentally is one of my favorite names of anyone who's ever asked us a question ever.
BananaCraft. I like it. That's
It's not just
sweet,
banana.
dude.
It's not just BananaCraft. It's
12.
BananaCraft12, which means I have a feeling there's a BananaCraft out there, and this guy register on Twitter, and he's like, I'm gonna be BananaCraft, and it was like that name's already been taken. He was like, damn it. So BananaCraft12 will call you BananaCraft.
Yes.
You can be BananaCraft. Shawn and Carter and Alisha have a podcast. SCHP. Shap.
Hey, we finally found one that you can pronounce.
Chap.
We
Yeah, I know.
needed
We
a
just need a
vowel.
vowel.
I'm here.
Thanks,
Thank
Alisha.
No problem, guys.
Well, sidebar. Shawn and both of our full names. None of them start with vowels at all. SVM and CMK. Like we had no chance.
Whoa, yeah.
I only have one. I gave it to you.
Thanks.
It was the one we needed, Alisha. Thank you.
Yes.
You also have a vowel-tastic name, Alisha.
I do.
Lots of vowels.
It's Valtastic. I
It
really
is.
like that.
Off the rails. So, hey, Shawn and Carter, BananaCraft says, what are your plans for future podcasts? And then also, I would like to point out, he also says, P.S. If this gets to the South Carolina Highway Patrol, get your own tag.
To which the South Carolina Highway Patrol said, no.
I would say BananaCraft, fight the power, but, it's the police. So.
I'm afraid of them. Terrified.
If you've watched this week's episode of 30 Rock, Parks and Rec.
You know what is so weird? I know that Alisha is excited that I'm going to start watching that show that you told me to watch that I haven't started watching yet, but right. I have started watching Parks and Rec on Hulu.
Good.
Awesome choice. So did my little brother. He's been enjoying it a lot.
I'm not going to say anything about it because I probably want to say something about it when I've seen more of it, but I just got to say, I have similar problems with the first season of that show.
The first season's bad.
Oh, yeah, I've never even seen it. I started on season 2. Actually, I also started my little brother on season 2. He was about to leave my mom's house. And we put it on, and we watched the first 5 minutes, and in that 5 minutes, it was enough. He had to leave, and that was enough for him to continue watching at home.
The first episode of the second season is the gay marriage penguins one.
Yes.
And it is like far better and funnier than all of the good funny parts of all of the first season episodes put together.
Agreed. But he was hooked by the intro, which is her suddenly rapping "Parents Just Don't Understand," like the entire song, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, Ron's just like, "There's a man on fire in Ramsey Park. We'd like you to get down there immediately." After a 5-minute, it was really great, and I was so glad that he was hooked with that.
Yes. Well, in any event, I'm watching it. It's nice little digestible 20-minute bits. I watched after the I was training up in DC on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I got back like each night at like 11, and I didn't have any work to do, but I couldn't go to sleep right away, so I watched like a couple episodes each of Parks and Rec, and I'm totally hooked.
Mm-hmm.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Well, anyway, that was.
What are we talking about?
We are talking about our plans for future podcasts, and I think BananaCraft meant for future Shawn and Carter have a podcast, but we have other things to talk about.
There are many things to talk about. Alisha and I have a soft-boiled idea that I won't.
We do.
Do
what?
you
now I want to
talk about it?
Yeah, we're gonna have a podcast where I explain books to Shawn. I'm just
Really?
gonna just explain the plot of something. I'm reading Pride and Prejudice, and I was so tempted. Well, I read Pride and Prejudice. This is the 3rd time. I realized I love that book. It's true. But I want to just explain the plot.
There are lots of books that she's read that I would read, if I had the time, but I've prioritized, and for whatever reason, they're at the bottom of a pile. And I will never read Pride and Prejudice. I might read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but I will not read Pride and Prejudice. So I'm just gonna.
I've read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Did you like it?
I did not.
Oh, okay. I don't want to read it personally. Like I do like the original, and not that I don't know. I like the original enough. I'm pretty good.
It's pretty weak. If it had anything to do with the film of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer coming out, then I thank it. But other than that, it's pretty worthless, and I don't think it's worth your time or your money. I wouldn't do it.
I'm good then. I just reread actual Pride and Prejudice, and it was lovely.
Well, anyway, she's going to explain the plots of some of these classics, or maybe whatever, like the Hunger Games, to me, because I don't care to read them, but I'm interested.
Yeah.
And it will probably be a humorous diversion.
Yeah, I'm going to be theatrical about it. I'm pretty excited about my English accent. You know,
whoa!
I've got to bring it out for Pride and Prejudice.
That was going on.
Oh, really? Oh, really, Alisha? An English accent? Really now? Accents? You really want to trot out accents in this podcast?
I made such a huge mistake. I'll punch you.
All right, we don't need to go there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, anyway, that's interesting. I would certainly be down for that. For listening to that.
Discusses books to Shawn.
But you were, Carter, you were alluding to something else.
I was alluding to something else, a sort of...
Which I have also alluded to. I even went so far as to say something about Joss Whedon.
Right. Like, you mentioned that when you were talking with Alisha, and I mentioned that I was watching Buffy, which Bobby was immediately like, oh my God, are you going to talk about it on Shawn and Carter Have a Podcast? And I didn't say anything because we're going to talk about it, but not on Shawn and Carter Have a Podcast.
What are you talking about it on?
It's going to be Shawn and Carter bonus cast.
We have no name for it yet. If there will be a name.
It's a unnamed project.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, it's code name. Got to come up with a code name, Shawn. What's code name?
It's gonna be about Buffy. Let's get some deets.
It's code name Banana Craft.
Love it.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer is available in its entirety on both Hulu and Netflix. So we, with an audience, whoever wishes to join us, are going to week by week rewatch season 4 of Buffy.
Yep.
Is that when it gets good?
That is the season that I chose.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had this wacky idea. We were talking about shows we like. I think it was after a podcast.
What? I think you just said
shows.
Shows.
What are shows?
I don't know. That's what I thought you said.
Television programs that we like. And I think I mentioned the X-Files. Well, Shawn was like, I can't believe you haven't seen Buffy.
Under the sun.
Right. He was like, I can't believe you haven't seen Buffy. And I'm like, I can't believe you haven't seen X-Files.
So I was like, I can't believe you haven't seen The Next Generation.
It's true.
Even I've seen a lot of that.
It was our family show from when I was 7 to 12. We'd just be like, all right, let's sit down and everybody watches The Next Generation together.
Oh, another episode with the holodeck.
Professor Moore.
My older brother was a huge Star Trek nerd. 'Tis true.
Well, anywho's it. We wanted to watch whole seasons of shows and bring people along for the ride. So Shawn just totally ripped me apart for not being a big enough Joss Whedon nerd a couple podcasts ago. So
I was very surprised that you did not know Joss Whedon at least created Firefly.
I mean, I didn't even know what Firefly is. Oh. You're making this is the same conversation we had. He was banging something, either his head
and you were like, what?
Or his...
Shameful.
Exactly.
Shameful.
Well, whatever.
Well, okay.
So
yeah.
It's not like I knew before I met Shawn. I hadn't watched anything whatsoever. So I can't really say I'm any better. But now I'm educated in the ways of Whedon.
Long story short, in the near future, we will have something podcasty shorter than this, hopefully. They're only 44 minutes. Hopefully they don't go much longer than that. And it's going to start with Buffy season 4. And if we have our druthers and about it, the next thing we do will probably be X-Files, and likely season 5. But
there we go. So we're aiming for the beginning of March for that series. So if you want to gear up on your Buffy, get refreshed, I'm going to do something on my channel. But if you want to take it upon yourself, you have about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've been I've had an interesting system. It's sort of evolved over time, catching up on Buffy or learning about it. What I do is I go on Netflix and I watch an episode and I give it 5 minutes. And if I don't hate it, I'll watch until the act break. If I hate it, I skip it, like, oh my god, there was this horrible episode, I Robot You Jane or something. Oh my god, it was so bad. And that's where I started.
It's like two people's favorite episode, and they're gonna be like, that was the episode that I fell in love with Buffy.
If you liked, I'm pretty sure it's called I, Robot You, Jane. It's about, so like in the 1400s, a demon gets like sealed into a book.
Oh, I already love it. Sold.
Well, no. The book gets scanned in the library, and he becomes a computer virus.
I remember this. I remember that.
That sounds completely realistic.
And he also begins a relationship
with Willow?
With Willow
That's
online.
Right. I remember this one.
And he recruits like computer nerds to do his bidding, and I just couldn't do it. I'm like, nope. I'll read the Wikipedia. Also, you were right. Not even on the Buffy wiki, but on regular Wikipedia, at the bottom they have this like arc significance section, and it's putting things out there like, and this is where blah blah blah, and Spike comes in and it sleeps with Buffy, and I'm like, what? Why did you tell me that?
Yeah, awful spoilers. Be careful on that Buffy wiki.
Well, but even on regular Wikipedia, guys, just be careful.
Regular wiki.
Regular wiki has arc significance on every episode. I'm really surprised the Wikipedians have like clamped down on that. You know, they're pretty like, you know.
Get your own wiki.
All right, the last bit of follow-up I have before we get to the random questions is that, yes, I was correct that there are no external fans on MacBook Pros, because I can look at mine and I'm like, yeah, there are no fans on it. But there is a fan inside on top of the processor heatsink that does turn on and make some noise. So I was right and I was wrong.
Well, that sounds like par for the course.
Right, exactly.
For both of us, I'll admit that.
Everyone's right and wrong. Good stuff.
I want to dive in some random questions from people with R names.
We're collecting them.
If you have an R name, either your real given name, I doubt Ricari's given name is Ricari.
His name is Will.
I did not know that. Well, Will, but you're quite the sleuth.
Elementary.
Elementary. If you have an R name of any kind, you can submit an RRQ. If you don't, then...
It just has to be an RQ, not an RRQ?
Correct.
Well, it has to be a random question. Yeah. Yeah. So, here we go. Everyone ready? First one?
Pumped. Let's go.
Do any of us, any of the three of us, have a relative with a quote-unquote favorite chair that no one else is allowed to sit in?
No.
Not so far as like a TV chair, but we had like seats at the table that nobody else
like
we wouldn't change. But that's it.
Okay.
I don't think I know anything.
I have something.
Maybe my grandma.
I have something. Your grandma?
I bet your grandparents totally. Sam and Janet, I bet they totally.
You're so right. Yeah. They just automatically go to their chairs.
I've never seen Sam sit anywhere except for that chair.
Yeah, I mean I have, but I would say it's not that nobody else is
not
allowed.
Anywhere in the world. I just anywhere in that room.
Sam sits in that chair and that's it. He goes out to restaurants and stands.
I can't sit there. That's not my chair.
This sounds like a season 1 Buffy plot.
It's actually a demon chair.
That's right.
Demon chair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so well, concisely, no, not so much.
Okay, so my grandparents had a similar thing, whatever. But I had a chair when I was in school that I picked up for free and moved into my apartment, and it was this giant chair. I don't know how it could be it was basically a love seat, but it was just small enough that it would be way too uncomfortable for 2 people to be sitting in it. And it had a very
comfortable love seat.
It was a very very comfortable.
You have to know your partner.
Yeah, that's not first date material right there, unless it's going really really well. And throughout college, I only sat in that chair, and I had a roommate, Ed, and we had like a recliner that he always sat in. And one time, and I would do my homework there too, on the ottoman. And one time, he sat in that, and we nearly came to blows over the assigned seating in our living room. It's like, no, listen, you get the recliner, I get the chair, and that's the way it goes. And I feel like in that moment, I was mine. Exactly. And now, of all things, for some reason, I moved that chair back to Ohio to get rid of it, and my mom loves it, and it is this old, like, it doesn't match anything. It's this old beat up chair, like parts of it are falling off, but she loves it, and it's now her chair. It is more her chair now than mine.
Beat up chair here in our apartment.
The leather chair.
Does anyone have ownership over it?
It was my favorite chair for a very long time. But once we took it, I don't know, out of my old house, like when I grew up, it was everyone's favorite chair, and everybody always wanted it. And now that it's here, for some reason, I absolutely never sit in it.
So that's a completely different question.
Yeah, it's the opposite. It's everyone's favorite chair. And everyone
is there a
wants
chair
it.
that everyone fought over?
The leather chair. Now it's horrible and old, but I still love it.
It's still very comfortable.
Yes,
it just looks ugly, and it's got cat scratches all over it and a stain.
Leather,
or two.
not always the best choice when you have cats.
Noted. Noted.
True.
All right.
You want to talk for 5 more minutes about chairs?
Boy, can
God, we should Can we do another podcast in which we only talk about
Chaircast?
Chaircast.
My dad has
we'll
a
sit
chair
on our
for
favorite
being a
chairs.
doctor. I don't know what that's about. Like, he has a chair that says University of Pennsylvania Medical School, or I guess Maryland. And it has like a seal on it, and he got it when he graduated. Do all doctors have that?
They give you a chair?
I guess so.
That's a thing. No, that's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a waffle get
so.
a chair. That's so bizarre. He never did anything with it. He didn't sit in it.
Okay.
Anyway,
well,
weird. Sorry, chair story. It's his favorite chair no one's allowed to sit in. His doctor chair.
That's a special circumstance, though, right? I mean, like your name is on
it. I don't see your name on it. It's right there.
Yeah. Okay, well, we got another random question.
Mm-hmm.
I have my answer, but you two were very guarded when I mentioned it.
I was thinking about it. I've been pondering it for a while, thinking of the skills I want. Anyway, go on. Ask the question,
okay.
sir.
Well,
Ask
Ron wants to know.
Questions 3.
Yes, exactly. If you guess my name, I have to spin your wheat into gold thread.
Carter Stiltskin.
Yep. Damn it. Got it. Ron wants to know if we have ever actually accomplished this, or tried to accomplish this, or even just thought about getting into the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh, I forgot
I have
that
not.
was the second question. Anyway,
I have not.
See, I told you I didn't know what was happening in this podcast. No, personally, I've not ever. I've thought about it. Like, I wonder what you have to do to get in there. But
I know someone who.
Like,
I know someone who has.
This.
I know someone who has, but I have not. Sean?
I've never really tried, or I've ever since like a couple weeks ago, I saw this clip online of a guy who apparently Jimmy Fallon, I think it was Jimmy Fallon, set a world record that was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records for playing the most video game consoles in 60 seconds. And
what?
He went from video game console to video game console, and he had to accomplish one task on each one in a game. And this guy at some game con in somewhere, San Diego or something, beat his record. And I was like, first of all, wait, Jimmy Fallon holds at least one world record? And second, I was like, that counts as a world record?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I could have one.
Yeah, like what am I not doing that could? I'm probably already doing something that could be counted.
That's pretty lame, because it's like.
Well, they're reaching, because how many more people are going to get longest hair or tallest person or.
Right, because it's so idiosyncratic, or it's so specific. It's like, you have to accomplish this task. I mean, because it's not like play the most video game consoles in 60 seconds. It's like
apparently it is
the most. Well, but that's like the name of it. But in the practical side of it is like you had to do one thing on a video game like you had to jump Mario over or whatever. Right? That's lame. That's dumb. The kid I know who works for he doesn't work for me, but the kid I know who is, I believe that he's in the. Not personally, but as a group, he's in the Guinness Book. There's someone who works with me who participated in a biggest group of people who watched the longest amount of TV ever.
Oh. Good job, him.
How long did they watch
well
TV?
done.
They watched all 7 seasons of 24.
Oh, I actually heard about that accomplishment. Was it in a theater?
Yeah. It was in a mall, I think.
Okay.
They have some area of a mall, and you could go to the bathroom, and that was the only reason you could leave. You had to go directly to the bathroom and come back. You couldn't look away from the screen for more than 5 seconds, or you're disqualified. And people brought you food and stuff that you could eat. But
was it like a survival competition? Did people get knocked out?
Well, it wasn't.
I featured something on 5 Things that involved people watching as much 24 as they could, and they actually gave away money and box sets of the DVDs to the winners.
I don't know that was it. They just picked 24 because they knew that would get them the
it has
record.
Plenty of. It's an 18-hour season, 7 seasons. Yeah.
So they watched all 7 seasons, and it wasn't an individual competition. Maybe that was part of it, but what they did was they basically recruited a whole bunch of people so that they knew they had well more than enough people that if a bunch of people got knocked off, they'd still win. And then they picked 24 because they knew it would be long enough that if they got some critical number of people across the line, then that would win them the Guinness World Record. And they did that.
It's also fairly engaging. It's not going to put you to sleep.
Although I will say that I watched the first few episodes. I was a diehard 24 fan.
I was.
And I watched the first season is to this day. I think maybe we'll do that on the podcast. On the new one, it was one of my favorite seasons of television of any show ever.
Even when what's her face got trapped in the lion trap.
In the first season?
Yeah, wasn't that the first? Yes, that was the first season.
I don't remember that.
They actually distinctly because she plays a character on Happy Endings, they made a joke about that on Happy Endings.
Elijah Discu or whatever.
Alisha Cuthbert.
Alisha Cuthbert. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, sure. I don't remember that, but yes, it was still excellent. But anyway, I watched and I'm such a my mom and I loved that show, and when I went off to school, we would watch it and then call each other in the commercial breaks and be like, "Oh my god, did you see the? Oh, it was so crazy." I boycotted the 7th season because I thought the first 2 episodes were just so incredibly bad. I hated it. Hated the 7th season. Thought it was really, really bad.
I can't remember what happened in the first 2 episodes, but I was fine with the season.
I just remember not really liking it at all. There's gonna be a movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe it's filming this year sometime, if it hasn't already.
Jack Bauer, his days are really crap.
We, Alisha and I just started watching the next best espionage series called Homeland. It won a Golden Globe.
Homeland, yeah. Are you watching it?
My mom has told me I should because it's like old 24. It's like the old original season, but better. She says
it is a better show than 24. 24 was so good because they did so well at that gimmick that it was fine that they used the 24-hour gimmick. Homeland doesn't have to rely on that. No. It's just a very compelling drama.
She's insane.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
I'll try. I'll try and find. I'm sure it's on some online source. I got too much. I mean, I got Buffy to do. I'm doing this Parks and Rec.
You got a lot going on.
Happy Endings. I got to try and catch up on.
We do a show and then we move on to the next show. That's all we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, here's the last question. All right, this is the one that I think Alisha was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
This one is from Will from Ricari. If we could have one fictional character to help us in a zombie apocalypse of any sort, he doesn't give us any sort of direct direction on that. Some sort of zombie apocalypse. Who would that fictional character be? Who would we pick and why? I think Alisha, you got someone from literature?
I've got 2 answers. One I think is not fair, and the other one I think is kind of funny. So my first choice would be Amy from The Passage. It's too easy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She's a super zombie. She has zombie powers, but she's totally normal. Because The Passage is a zombie book. So, she's really awesome and fast and can kill them all and also control them with her mind. So I would choose her. She would keep me alive.
In The Passage, the zombies behave like a hive mind.
Yeah. and she is
I
one of
don't
the
even-
hive, but
never
not
even-
one of the hive. I don't know.
I've never even heard of the passage.
Oh, it was
It
well
was
received. It was a
bestseller
literary.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like a literary attempt at the zombie genre, and it's excellent.
It's
very
being
well
made
done.
into a film.
Yes.
Does it come out this year or next year?
I think it is.
Shocking.
I think it is. I think it's next year.
Well, I'm sure. I don't think that the novel is accomplishable as a film. They'll have to compromise on a bunch of stuff, but
We said it should be done as 2 parts, and it would be very easy to.
even so much of it takes place in people's minds that
little
that
bit.
won't translate to the screen.
Yeah. Well, anyway, she would kick ass, and that'd be pretty cool.
All right.
And who's your other one?
You guys go first. We'll get to my other one later. I've given one.
Well, I'm gonna definitely pick a video game character, and I'm trying. I guess it'll depend on if Alisha survives the apocalypse or not.
Thanks.
Because if you're still around, then I'll go with Master Chief. Get
Okay.
some Spartan action going on.
Yeah.
He dealt with the flood, and that's very similar to a zombie kind of thing. Or if Alisha bites it,
Right.
or rather something bites her, and she's no longer in the picture, I'm gonna go with Samus, because I need a hot girlfriend,
Good stuff. Thanks.
especially one who.
I'm glad you can replace me so easily. I chose a
She
young
has
girl.
a gun for an arm. How are you gonna compete with that?
Good. Okay. Good point.
Nice.
Just saying.
Fine. What's yours, Carter?
I would pick Merlin from The Once and Future King.
Okay, that's an awesome choice. I like it.
Because
I'm
one,
assuming
he would
magical, right?
he's magical, right? So he's got that skill set, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I
And
don't know
two,
magical people.
since he ages backwards, he can tell me what's going to happen before it happens. So he's like, there are going to be
Yeah.
zombies around the corner. I'm like, good job, Merlin. Let's go the other way.
Knowledge of the future would be pretty sweet.
Exactly. Although, he also would have some things holding him back, like the fact that he only has knowledge of, Arthurian England.
I want to change my answer to Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen.
Okay.
Oh, that's cheap.
I like it. All right. So
I want to change mine to God. Can God be my guy?
I think some people would debate that that's fictional, but anyway.
Well,
Some-
let's see how many dislikes we can get on this video.
Oh, it's terrible. So my other one, I've been sitting here thinking, I was like, all right, so I need somebody who can fight them off. And I was like, I need a warrior. And so my next thought was like somebody who can definitely decapitate them, because that's how you can most easily stop a zombie, just decapitation. And also a survivalist, like they have to know how to live in the woods and whatnot. Anyway, my choice is Xena Warrior Princess, because she had that disc thing that she threw at people and could easily decapitate. She's from ancient Greece, so she knows how to survive in the woods.
And on the TV show, she turned out to be a lesbian, so I see where you're going with that.
Exactly. So anyway, she would
You're
be my
getting back at
second
me
choice.
for the Samus thing.
Yes, I want some hot Lucy Lawless. Anyway, yeah, that was
That
my
is-
thought process with her. I think that's a pretty good topic.
Well, if any, this was a very fruitful conversation, team. If other people
I think we've learned a
want
lot
to
about
chime in.
ourselves.
I think we have. I think we've grown a lot. If other people on either the YouTube version of this or if they want to tweet with the hashtag SCHP, want to tweet who they would pick, I'd be very interested to know,
totally.
because when I saw this question, my immediate thought, and I love Ron, and we got to get him on here, was this is a kind of a lame question. Oh no, this was Ricari. Sorry,
Right.
sorry, Ron. I thought this was kind of a lame question. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like,
no, I think it's an awesome question. Good job,
but it
Ricari.
turned out to be an
Will.
awesome question, so Ricari, very well done.
Yes.
And specifically, Will, you need to say who you would
Oh,
pick.
yes, we expect
And since
your answer.
he does vlogs, so I would ask him to record a vlog.
Yeah, let's get a whole
Do
response.
Do
Yeah,
it.
because not just
Give
the
us your
140
reasoning.
characters. Yeah,
How hot
like,
is the person that you're picking?
Oh boy. Well, this is Alicia's chance to not be on if she doesn't want to, because we're going to talk about Apple now.
Wow. I'm going to buy a MacBook now, hush.
She is.
I
She's
know.
gonna
There
do
was
it.
there was debate. I know.
There
Sean
was.
asked me.
I've given in. Also, my boss just offered to pay for anything above what I wanted to spend on one, because I was like, most laptops are cheap and Macs are expensive and I can't afford it. And she was like, I'll pay the rest. I love my boss.
She means the company, not her pocket.
Yeah.
Well
I'm a
done.
manager.
That's awesome. I had to just purchase my new one, just like,
By yourself.
with my money.
The
With my
old-fashioned
money
way.
is
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way, not the scheming, conniving way. Well, Shawn doesn't even really know about this. When we were, I mentioned like, hey, I want to talk about this thing, and he's like, I don't even know what that is. So this will be a learning experience.
I thought you were doing a lesson for school or something, a nature lesson.
Nature lesson? No. So 2 days ago, I think, the thing I want to talk more about is not like this actual product, but like the way that it was announced. Apple, through both its website and through a whole bunch of like bloggers and newspapers and whatever, they announced they announced two things. One, that they're going to have a new OS release in the summer, macOS 10.8. It's going to be called Mountain Lion. Their current
so ridiculous.
Lion, right? So Mountain Lion.
Anyway, that's nerdy.
Two, that they are going to release an OS every year like they do for iOS, not like as they finish it. They're just every single year from now until whenever they, until the zombie apocalypse and Lucy Loveless and is that her name?
Lawless.
Lawless?
Very close, yes.
Lucy? Whatever.
Without Lawless.
They will release a new version of their OS every year. So, do you want to talk about the features? Do you want to hear about the features? The exciting new features?
Bye, Alisha.
I'm still here.
She already gone.
I'm just dozing off. I mean.
Okay. You can doze.
Fill us in.
Okay, so I'm going to read you the very first sentence from the video on their website introducing this product. Okay? The first sentence is, with OS X Lion, we brought some of the fundamental elements of the iPad experience to the Mac. Right? That's what they're saying. So with Lion, their current system, they brought a whole bunch of stuff from the iPad. And the thing I wanted to bring out was they didn't say iOS. They said the iPad specifically. Right? Well, they wanted to make a point of that because what they're doing
that thing that was so successful the last year?
Yeah. With Mountain Lion, so I'm running a system with Lion right now, and things that are similar to the iPad are like scrolling, with the trackpad. It's like, moving things around on the iPad, and the App Store, etc. With Mountain Lion, it's getting a whole bunch of apps from the iPad. So the Notes app is the same, iMessages is going to be the same across all the platforms, Calendar is going to be the same across all the platforms. The Mac is getting Notification Center just like the iPad and the iPhone. All this stuff, all this like accoutrements from iOS, but they specifically wanted to make you think iPad and not just iOS generally, because I think that's a marketing strategy, right? They don't want you to think like, oh, it's these crappy, or not crappy, but like things that you use with like one finger on a tiny little iPhone with a 3.5-inch screen, right? They want you to think like, oh yeah, it's like the Calendar from iPad, it's intuitive and I love it, and it's just like Calendar, and with like pages that you rip off, and it's great.
This is the way Carter thinks in his mind when he reads these things.
I do. I've only had like 12 hours to think about this, and I've already we will continue to talk about this for many podcasts to come. Trust me. So that's all fun and whizzy. The thing that's interesting, different about this is I haven't gone back and cataloged this, but every single major OS release from Apple has had a keynote presentation. Going all the way back to the original OS X, which was keynoted in 2000, and it was released to the public in 2001, either at Macworld or WWDC. This did it. Well, first, Lion had a preview with a small press availability, but at least they had that, and then they really announced it at WWDC 2010 or 2011, excuse me. This, no press availability, no keynote. It's not even the main thing on the Apple website. It's like one of 3 little things at the bottom of the screen. They just brought a bunch of people and briefed. They had Phil Schiller, their top marketing guy, give basically a keynote presentation to like individually to bloggers and journalists, and then people went and wrote about it, which I think is just fascinating. That they basically secretly briefed people, which is, I mean, we're talking about like a decade's worth of their release strategy is like now gone. They're not doing that anymore.
That Tim Cook, what does he think he's doing to this company? He's running it into the ground with his $500 stock prices.
I know, right? Well, there's Shawn will include it in the show notes. There's a great article post from John Gruber of Daring Fireball fame, who got to get one of these little briefings, and I would say half of the article is about Mountain Lion, and half of it is about how he was talked to about Mountain Lion.
About how he was like, this was weird.
Right? Well, I mean, it's so strange. It's like, anyway.
It's like exclusive. I sort of get it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, think about 10 years of like, whenever this company releases whatever product, like, doesn't matter. They have this massive fanfare, big thing, 5,000 people. It's this really choreographed, rehearsed thing with, a big keynote presentation and multiple people, and it's all over the internet, and people are live blogging it, and everyone's like waiting for it. Like, no one even knew that they were doing this. Everyone's like, they send out these really cool invitations like a month ahead of time, and everyone's like, oh, they're gonna release the new thing, and then suddenly they're like, oh, hey, we're doing this thing. And we told a couple people about it, and they wrote about it, and we're, moving on.
I'm sorry, I zoned out. I think it might be time for Alisha to go after all.
Oh,
that was harsh, guys.
Aw, well, you hung in there for a long time.
I tried. Sean's just laughing at me. He's not even here anymore. Have fun. It's been great.
Well, thank you for making us thank you for making us a podcast with a vowel.
Yes, of course. Shap will be back together sometime.
So anyway, Carter, thanks for putting up with my wife.
I love your wife.
She's still right over there, by the way. But anyway, maybe maybe it is just a buzz strategy. I mean, we're talking about it, aren't we? The fact that they're doing it like behind closed doors and not making a big deal out of it.
That's true. I would. So I'm gonna rip off John Gruber because his article was the last one I read about it. I think that he is
because you only have a couple people to choose from.
Yeah, I know, because the only people who've written about it are like him, David Pogue, MG Siegler. Back when we were talking about Google and antitrust, he wrote a lot of the articles that I had you link. So they also picked kind of a weird crew, if I might say so. But anyway. What was I don't even remember what I was saying anymore. We should just move on. No.
There are features. You're excited.
No. I know. I think John Gruber is right when he says that there's. What's I don't know the best way to like think about this exactly, but Apple wants to preserve the big highlight press attention for the products that they think need it.
Okay. And if they're saying that they're doing this OS update thing every year now, they just want to kind of like start right now, not making as big of a deal out of it.
Right. And like they just did the education thing at the Guggenheim or whatever.
Which is definitely, at least to me, a bigger, more important announcement.
Well, it's different. It's like this is their 8th version of their OS.
Yeah.
of this current iteration of their OS, it's the 8th version. And then they're going to obviously do something for the iPad 3 in March. Like, that's coming.
What? There's an iPad 3 coming out?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard anything.
Are you serious?
Of course I'm not serious. Every day it's like new rumor that the iPad 3 is getting time travel technology. You haven't heard that one?
That's been so debunked by now, Shawn, that time travel stuff. Have you not been following this? I will say this on the iPad 3, something that like all the rumors are kind of coalescing on, which I think is interesting, and it's very different from the stuff that Android's doing. I don't want to say Android, but like people who use that as their OS for mobile products, is that it seems like Who knows? Apple might throw us a curveball on this. It seems pretty clear that the new system on a chip to run it, the A6, is going to be a dual core, not a quad core. And all of the like whizzy new phones and tablets in the Android world are all moving toward quad core stuff. So Apple clearly.
Well, what will that matter when they come out with octo-core?
Octo-core?
Is that the name of it? Will that be it, or it's something else?
Octo-core.
I kind of like that.
Octo-core sounds like the name of the big bad in the Avengers. Would be Octo-core. He crushes the quad-core threads with his whatever. I don't know.
There are tentacles involved, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's very unusual, and then I also want to talk about the name, Mountain Lion. So,
ice cream sandwich.
Man, it's really long. OS 10 Mountain Lion. Oh, by the way, they have very officially and intentionally said that they are not Mac OS 10 anymore. It is just OS 10. Oh. If anyone cares. So, like, I'm on my computer right now. I'm on a Mac. I go to the Apple menu. I click About This Mac. So there's a big Apple beveled logo. And then underneath it, in very nice Helvetica, is Mac OS X, which means 10. Bobby, not X. Mac OS 10, version 10.7.3. In 10.8, it will just be OS 10. That's it. No more Mac. So.
Why does it go away?
Andy Anako, who's a Mac blogger, was it Andy? I think it was Andy Anako. He speculated that it's because Apple wants to have some consistency between all of their different departments, in that hardware has certain names and software has certain names. So the iPhone, remember, the iPhone used to run iPhone OS, but then they said no, it's not iPhone OS, it's iOS.
It's just iOS,
and they want to do this. Right, and they want to do the same thing with the Mac. It's like, well, it's a Mac, but it's running OS 10. So I guess I buy that.
Yeah, branding is important.
Branding's important, sure. But the thing I want to point out about Mountain Lion is, if you're a Mac follower like me, or as someone who's used Macs for a while, this will obviously remind you of Snow Leopard. They had 10.5, which was Leopard, and then they did 10.6, which was Snow Leopard. Mm-hmm. The thing between 5 and 6 was Leopard had all these really amazing new features. I think Leopard was when they introduced Time Machine. Expose might have been one version before that. It might have been in Leopard. I don't remember. That's the one where you push a button and all the windows move into this little field, and you can see all the windows.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that.
It's pretty cool. Now it's called Mission Control. It's the same thing, basically. Now the Mac people are gonna yell at me because they're like, "No, it's not the same thing," and I know that. Let me talk, guys. Gosh.
Let me generalize.
Let me generalize. Well, the thing between Leopard and Snow Leopard was their big thing was that Snow Leopard had 0 new features except for one, which was Microsoft Exchange support. But the whole idea was that they were optimizing the code and making it run faster and better and smarter and be more stable. And actually, Snow Leopard clocked in at something like 2 gigabytes fewer, or 2 gigabytes smaller than Leopard. It was tighter, better code. It was the operating system was smaller. That is not what they're doing with Mountain Lion at all. It's got all these new features. So I'm not exactly sure why they felt compelled to call it Mountain Lion, or why in fact that they want to keep doing cat names, big cat names. They're gonna run out. You would think that they pick lion and they're done, right? The lion, it's the king of the jungle. Why are they moving on to another cat? A mountain lion.
One that's smaller.
I think a mountain lion is a cougar, isn't it?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So Apple's going to be going after some young dudes.
You just had a video on your channel about Cougar Town.
Yeah, I did. That's why I didn't have to reach very far for that one.
You did not. The one thing that I'll point out, if people are wondering about this, I'm sure none of them are, but I'll put the thought in everyone's head. well, there's two things. One is, when does Mac OS 10 be not Mac OS 10 anymore, right? When is it something different? And I will just mention a quote that seems like a throwaway line, but I don't think it is, from Steve Jobs from 2005. When he was talking about the transition from PowerPC to Intel processors in the Mac, he mentioned two other big transitions that the Mac had. One was from 68K to PowerPC, the original processor from the Mac from like 1984, and then from OS 9 to OS 10, which he called a brain transplant. And when he mentioned that, he said that was a good move, and it set Apple, like verbatim, he said, and it set Apple up for it set Apple up for the next 20 years. 20 years. I don't think he would have. I mean, they practiced those keynotes so much.
He's got a plan. He's got a 20-year plan. Right. When he said that,
he would not have just. Yeah, he would not have just said that. He wouldn't have. And if it had been 15 years, he would have said 15 years.
Exactly.
If it was 25, he would have said 25. Right. So, OS 10 shipped as a commercial product in 2011, which means that we are now in we are past noon, on the life of OS 10. There should be something like 8 more years. If they're going to do a new one every year, we should get 8 more. So like the last one will be 10.16. So related to that, a lot of people want to know about like, ooh, is iOS and OS 10, are they going to like merge? Are they going to like become the same operating system? And I don't want to get into this now. We can like a couple of years from now. SCHP100. I will promise this. We'll mention it in SCHP100.
You got big plans, man. You got a big vision.
In 4 years. I don't think right now iOS and OS 10, but I think that they're just going to be very, they'll have a family resemblance. But who knows? It could be wrong.
Well, then I'll just bet against you, and I'm going to say, nope, it's going to happen next year.
There you go.
They're going to be the same thing.
Same thing. I have my doubts.
We'll put some money on it.
Yeah.
We'll do that offline. $10,000.
The usual amount.
Right.
If you know that reference, you can. Whatever. You can chuckle along with us. You don't need to put it in any form. I'm not going to check. Lots of stuff with OS 10. We'll continue to talk about it. And obviously when the iPad 3 comes out, we'll talk about that too.
You want to air your single Windows 8 gripe of the week?
Oh, yeah.
I want to know why you're upset.
I'm not upset.
I want to know why you have something to say.
Well, I would say upset implies that I care about Windows.
You're the one who sent me the damn link.
Well, no, I wanted to, okay, so Windows, okay. Windows 8 is coming, and everyone is like, oh, Windows 8 is coming, we're going to have this whole,
this Metro, blah, blah.
OS that's on tablets to PCs to whatever, and Bobby's really excited about it for reasons that pass my understanding.
Look, Windows is now going to look like your phone.
Exactly. It's like come on, guys. It's Windows 7 with a skin on the start menu,
veneer
basically.
On the top.
With those live tiles, which I find really annoying, because things are like one of the biggest complaints I have about the new iMessages app for the Mac is, well, I can bring it back to Mac. One of the biggest complaints I have about the iMessages app is that if you're talking with multiple people on iMessages, it has their names in like a left-hand pane, and whoever is the most recent person jumps to the top. So it's like moving all the time, and it's like you can't. It's like annoying. It's like all this movement, and it's like jittery. And I have the same problem with live tiles. But like Windows 8,
you want things to stay where you leave them.
Kind of, yeah. Windows 8 to go along with this new Metro design, blah blah. They have a new brand. I'm just going to call it a new brand because it's more than just a logo. It is.
It is.
It is. It's. You need to look at it. So go to the link dump. Go to the link for this. Take a look at it, and I'm going to describe it. One, it's sort of like a robin's egg blue.
Sure.
I'd say. It says Windows, and after Windows, it's got the R for registered. What does R stand for?
I think
registered imprint.
I don't know.
Registered imprint, I think.
I don't know what it means.
It's got the R. It doesn't mean trademark, but R for whatever in a circle. So that's annoying. You don't see that on. That's annoying right there. And then so it's Windows, a little R there, and then 8. I don't know what typeface this is, but it's a very clean, modern typeface. And then their biggest sin is since Windows 3.1, their logo has been like a flag kind of thing with like primary color thing, right? So they've basically taken like an abstract version of that and made it just one color. Blue.
The same blue.
It's the same blue, right? So what it looks like to me is a window, which I think they want you to think, but it's just like, it looks like a blue window pane. It also kind of looks like a Scandinavian flag.
It does, vaguely.
And then it's got a little TM for trademark at the bottom right of it.
The TM is trademark that is not registered. The R in a circle is a registered trademark.
Trademark. Okay, so I don't have like super major problems with it. I just think it's like boring and not
inconsistent.
Yeah, it's not very captivating. I mean, I think the boldest move that they've made was the, I think fairly shameless Apple ripoff that Vista did, where they took the Windows flag and put it in what looks like an Apple bubble.
Right.
The little blue thing. It looks like an aqua bubble from Apple. I mean, whatever. Maybe... I take it all back. They put it in a blue, shiny bubble that has no relation to Apple, whatever. I think that was pretty bold. And now I think they're going in totally the opposite direction. I don't really understand it. Like, I get that it looks like the Metro UI, but the Metro UI, everything I've seen is all like colors and like kind of bold and big and showy,
They want to take a step in a different direction.
I don't know.
Make their logo look a little more like an Apple store.
Maybe. It's very clean, very slick. I don't know what to say. If anyone has any opinions, let us know. I mean, I would like to
see if you can read anything more into this than Carter can.
Well, I'm not reading anything into it because there's nothing to be read. There's like nothing here. I would like to know if anyone really likes it, but I would assume most people will be ambivalent, but I could be really wrong.
Let's get some like art design people in here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got one more area to talk about. We were gonna do the Weezy Waiter stuff, but we're just gonna bump it again. So
Shawn was feeling a little obsessive, and he's been trying to catch up since. Where did I start last night? I started at, I think, the second week of November. That is how far behind I am. I've seen a few here and there. I've seen the first Wig trilogy video. I've seen like 2 more recently since that one. But I need to go back and just watch them all. So I think I've watched about 14 or 15 since last night, but I'm still not caught up.
Wow, that is...
I'm such an awful fan.
Well, I mean...
The thing about Weezy is, I feel like when I watch... The same thing occurred to me when I was reading this author, Christopher Moore. When I watch or view writers that I really admire, I start to rip them off. So I try and like limit it to short bursts of a lot, and then hopefully I forget all the stuff that I would want to rip off. Nothing is original, says Weezy Waiter.
Inspiration's a funny thing. Everything's a remix.
Right.
So we're gonna skip that.
We'll do it next week. Look for it next week.
Promise.
Absolutely.
Next week. Even if Shawn hasn't seen it, we'll do it. We'll pretend like
you can explain it all to me.
We'll get Alisha on. She can explain it.
And in this shot, there's some rack focus.
I don't even know what that means. So
I am disappointed.
And that's why I want you to have seen it, because I think that there's a lot of filmmaking stuff that you'll have.
Oh yeah,
things to say about.
him and his primary partner in the endeavor is Matt, one of his band members. They definitely know what they're doing. They're very good.
Yeah, so that's yes, because I don't know anything about that. You'll be explaining it to me.
Cool.
I know that I like it and I appreciate it, and I want you to tell me why.
Okay.
Okay.
I know it when I see it.
Yeah. We're gonna finish out with something that Bodman put on.
Man, Bodman just got a shout out on 5 Things yesterday too.
Bodman's blown up.
He's all over the place.
I originally phrased it as sort of like a defiant challenge, and then I think I immediately backpedaled and been like, well, I don't.
Someone's definitely gonna prove me wrong.
And someone did. Well, it's debatable, but
added to the debate for sure.
Sure. We've mentioned we were talking about the Super Bowl ads last time we chatted, and I was saying, like the 1984 Mac ad is obviously the most important advertisement that's ever been made in the history of man, right?
Right.
And
how right you were.
To prove me wrong. Well, Bodman gave some interesting examples. The Honda Cog commercial is.
I have seen this one.
It's a technical masterpiece.
Yes. It's a Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think some people, to this day, I'm sure, that commercial is pretty old. It's like 4 or 5 years old, right? Maybe more than that.
I remember it being passed around as an email forward, so it might have been before YouTube.
It was probably before YouTube. If you don't know what we're talking about, we'll get all these videos
we'll be in the info.
Link dump, or you can go to the past podcast, the YouTube version of the past podcast, and look at Bodman's posts. He put them there. Thank you, Bodman. People to this day think that it was like CGI, or like fake, and it wasn't. And what we're talking about is this. It's all of the parts, or presumably all of the parts of like a Honda Odyssey or something, in this Rube Goldberg machine that just like keeps going and going, and like the cog hits a something that triggers a windshield wiper that hits something that makes a tire go up a thing, and like it's amazing. It's really, really cool. You should watch it. It's hard to describe.
One of the OK Go videos. It was the one for. I can't think of the name of the song. They have a Rube Goldberg that took place in a giant warehouse that was probably more impressive than this, but not as clean.
Oh yeah, I'm sure this took a lot of time to like figure out like how everything was going to work together, and and then move the camera along, right? So, and it looks great. So yeah, there's another one which is he said the title was removed to avoid spoiler. I will say the same. You should check it out.
I know what it is now.
Oh, okay.
I definitely you do have to, and just watch it. Just watch
great.
it.
I think it's certainly very clever. And I'd never seen it before, so that was a plus.
And the way that people want you on YouTube to not know what it's about is the perfect way to go about it.
Yeah, totally. So check that out. The final thing. So I don't think either of those ascends to the level of what I was challenging people.
Right.
I think
very good ads. Very good ads accomplish what they want to and have good technique.
Sure. But I don't remember exactly what I said, but I think I something like, find me an ad that is basically as important as the 1984 ad, right? Something that was impactful and good. And Bodman, I should have thought about this because I'm well aware of this.
Because you went to public school?
I was a political science major in college, so obviously I saw this. He brought up what is probably if 1984 is the most famous advertisement for a consumer product. I'll say that. Now, if someone wants to continue to find better things, then fine. Bodman found a more important advertisement generally. It's the Daisy ad from Lyndon Johnson's campaign in 1964.
What's that little girl doing there, picking flowers?
Right. So the
Boy, I hope nothing happens to her today.
Right. So I mean, if you haven't seen this, one, not unlike the 1984 ad, it only aired once.
Right.
And two, it's just this. It's from 1964. It's a black and white ad. It's a girl picking flowers, and it keeps switching to this like very serious man doing a countdown. And you're like, what is going on? And it's like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then a nuclear explosion goes off, and the girl goes like her color, like the black and white gets inverted.
Right.
And she's like looking at the camera, and then all you hear are, "These are the stakes." And Lyndon Johnson just crushed Barry Goldwater, just crushed him.
There's never been a better political ad in history.
Never. They only had to air it once. It in itself was a nuclear weapon. You only needed to use it once.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, well done, Bodman. That you beat me. You stumped the chump.
Let's not add that to our list of segments on the show.
I know we're getting.
We'll be stumped every single time.
Oh, of course. But you know, I think it was good. I'm glad that someone actually was like, hey, here's something. Because I think I've said random things like, I defy anyone to blah blah blah. And,
yeah, instead of just being like, these guys don't know what they're talking about, it was, these guys don't know what they're talking about, but here's what they should be talking about.
Sure. Well, anyway, thank you, Bodman. That was these were great ads to talk about, and I agree with you that the Daisy ad is certainly the most important advertisement that we could be talking about. Television advertisement. If someone wants to really dig deep and find like a magazine advertisement or some other medium that they think is like,
it's going to be that VW ad. Do you know that one?
Oh, Think Small or whatever.
I think that's it. Yeah.
They talk about it in like Mad Men.
Yep. That's the one.
It was a series of them. One of them was like they actually had many different names. I think Small was one of them. Another one.
Why do we know so much about advertising? This is bizarre.
It is bizarre. One of them was called Lemon.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Lemon.
That's cutesy and like whatever. And the car is like really, really tiny.
Yeah.
On the page. Yeah. That's a pretty good one. Yeah.
We just rewatched the last 2 episodes of season 4 of Mad Men to refresh us in time for season 5 to start. So I've got my Mad Men on my mind.
And your mind on your Mad Men?
My mind on my Mad Men.
When does that season start?
The 25th.
I'm not gonna.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. It's next Saturday.
I'm in a tight spot.
Damn, we're in a tight spot.
Tight spot. Between all of the things that I've got going right now with like Buffy and all Parks and Rec, there's no way. But you know, next year I will catch up on the on season 4. I've seen seasons 1 through 3. I'll catch up on seasons 4 and 5.
Yeah.
This part of the birth of this podcast was Mad Men, or part of the early episodes. I think the second episode we talked about Mad Men.
Yeah, I thought today that we were going to get to do some Netflix news, but it turned out it was kind of a mistake on the Huffington's Post part.
I didn't see that.
They posted a story that was not a story. They said that Netflix was announcing they were returning to a DVD-only plan that they had stopped offering, and they never stopped offering it. They just enabled a new URL if you wanted to get to it. It's now dvd.netflix.com. For some reason, the Huffington Post was like, this is a news story. And then Netflix was like, no, sorry. We know we've been jumpy in the past, but this time we were just turning a URL on. Sorry. And the Huffington Post left the article up as it was, just added a little thing to the top that said that it was a mistake on their part, but still has all the sensational stuff down in the bottom. Those goofballs.
It makes me think of Seth Meyers, his White House Correspondents' dinner speech. Did you see that?
Yeah.
2 years ago, he's talking about the after parties. And like the New York Times after party is going to have a cover this year. And then the Huffington Post party is just asking people to go to all the other after parties and bring hors d'oeuvres from them to,
nice.
to the Huffington Post party.
So no new Netflix news. That's a lot of N's.
That used to be our bread and butter.
I know, that was half our show content. Those days are long gone.
I know, we really need Reed Hastings to make another mistake.